Woo! Alright guys, 98K. Thanks so much for your support on here. We finally hit 98,000 subscribers on the channel, and I can't thank you enough. That's why we're doing this special Q&A, taking your comments from the video I posted last week, posing questions, or I guess it was earlier this past weekend, posing questions, and I want to dive right into them. Again, I wish I could answer them all. This video would be way too long if I tried to answer all of them, and I tried to go with some common themes. There were a bunch of great questions. I did read them all, so really appreciate your support and feedback in that, but we're gonna dive right in and get some questions answered. So first question that I want to answer, and I get to pick and choose what I want to talk about, but I was hoping to hear about the process of how elite runners get their sponsorships and how they keep them. Is it primarily the athlete who reaches out and contacts potential sponsors, or do sponsors reach out? I know there isn't a blanket answer, but I don't really have much of an idea of how the whole process works. Great question, and I'll rewind my own personal story, and it might be different for other people. When I came to Boulder 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years now, I had zero sponsors, zero sponsorships. I had come from running pro out of college and being sponsored, but I came to Boulder with the dream of being a mountain ultra trail runner and getting sponsors, and so I did the US mountain running champs, Mount Washington that year, won by over a minute, got the American record, which has been broken since, but it was 58:27 up Mount Washington. Then I ran the White River 50 mile, which was my first big 50 mile ultra in the state of Washington. Beat Anton Krupicka's course record by over 10 minutes in my first 50 miler. Thought sponsors would be contacting me. They weren't. So I was reaching out. I had some social media traction and following just from running post-collegiately after college, but it wasn't a huge social media following. I was very active on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube even here, but the channels weren't as big, and I heard a lot of crickets. I got a lot of no's, just flat out no, we won't sponsor you. And I was just looking to get my foot into the door really with sponsors. It wasn't like I was asking for a tremendous amount of support, but you get a lot of unanswered emails, and all of my sponsors now, and I have over 10 sponsors right now, some offer a lot more support than others. Only one of them had actually reached out to me and contacted me first. All the other ones I had to reach out to and I had to contact, and I got a lot of unanswered emails, a lot of no's flat out, and it was very frustrating. So it's kind of a difficult thing, and I think some people get sponsorship based on a lot of different things. Actually, there's another question about sponsorship more specifically that's kind of related that we'll get into, but you know, definitely having a social media following and being active with the running community helps. At the same time, also running fast times and doing well in races that matter to sponsors is also going to help. But it's kind of fickle sometimes, and things don't pay out right away. And it was hard for me at first because, like I said, I didn't have any sponsors when I moved to Boulder, and it took a while to get momentum going. And I was working part-time at Otterbox up in Fort Collins to try to make ends meet and worrying about paying rent in Boulder and things like that. So that's kind of part of the process, is that you have to be, or at least in my case, I was very aggressive. So next question, if pro running had never worked out, what do you think you'd be doing? As a second part, do you have plans for when, if your current running career transitions away from competitive athlete? You seem like a really smart guy. Oh, thanks. And I'm curious what you would do outside of running. So I'd love to stay working in the running industry, because running's become such a huge part of my life. But at the same time, I always worry I could get in a car accident tomorrow and have my legs not work anymore, or I could have some sort of major injury or health ailment, or things. I will get older and slower eventually, especially because I started running at such a young age. And to be at the world stage, top competitive level, I feel like in mountain ultra running, you have more longevity. You could be in your late 30s and 40s and be really rocking it at the elite level, I feel like. But in shorter distances, like half marathon, your VO2 max will go down as you age. And for me, I've kind of maximized my potential probably at the half marathon and things like that. So I think hopefully I have more longevity, and I want to keep doing this as long as possible. But yeah, I'd like to stay, you know, coaching's been really rewarding. Working with sponsors and equipment, outdoor industry, it's been really rewarding being able to connect with the running community. I'd like to stay in that now. When I was in college, I didn't I dreamed about being a post-collegiate athlete and running after college, but I didn't think it would be a reality. So when I was in college, initially I went to college for engineering. You actually apply to separate schools within the university, and so I'd thrown everything into engineering. I was in the mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering department my freshman year, and my math was really hard for me. I was not doing well academically. I was not adjusting to college life well. I was losing a lot of sleep. I was really stressed out. I wasn't running well. So I did change my major and eventually majored in design, but I dabbled in nutrition. I dabbled in human development psychology. I dabbled in business. I really loved the business elective classes I took my senior year, and I had a bunch of extra credits from taking everything from art history to creative writing and biology and chemistry, nutrition, and all these things, calculus. So I was thinking about going into design, product design, usability. Could have gone into consulting. I was lined up to maybe do Teach for America. There were a lot of different things going on, but I'm glad I stuck with running, and it's worked out pretty well. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It would have been a lot different, I guess, and things could always change. So you always have to be evolving as a runner and as a person, and being able to recognize opportunity is really important. But the interactions I've had with people around the world now through running and the experience I got through running have just been something I've been really grateful for, and it was better than what I dreamed about when I was in college and I thought about running post-collegiately. But yeah, it's really hard to say. I guess I was going to be an engineer, but that ended after my freshman year of college. So not being an engineer, but interested in the creative process and interested in design, also interested in being my own boss and kind of owning my own business and things like that. So it'd probably be in the athletics industry. I guess I could get into nutrition more, things like that. There were some questions about me visiting the UK. I'd love to go to the UK. I've been, when I was in middle school, I took a trip to London once, but I think that's the only time I've been touring around the UK. But I'd love to go there. I'd love to do some races. There were some on the Golden Trail series that I thought about doing, but it looked like the most technical race, even more technical than Zagama, so I kind of shied away from it. But I've heard great things about the fell running scene. I'd love to do the London Marathon one day. There's all sorts of great trails and ultras and a great running community, so UK definitely high on the list of places to travel to and visit. I'd love to be there. I can't nail down a date or time maybe this year, but hopefully in the near future. How much are you actually earning from this channel? I know the dollar per 1,000 views figure, but do your sponsors give you a little kickback because of your large following? I've heard rough things about the $1 per 1,000 views, and I don't exactly know what that means. Someone could maybe fill me in. I also have not looked into Google Analytics a ton. I started this YouTube channel for fun, and I didn't think it would grow or be something that I'd make money from. I would say that if I got $1 for every 1,000 views, then I would be a lot more wealthy, and that would be really sweet. But that's not the case from what I've found, at least. I've seen growth in the channel with subscriber base, and I get money from Google AdSense. That's not a secret, and it definitely helps to have more views and more subscribers, and there's runtime and there's click ads and all these things. But I think it's a fairly complicated algorithm, actually, and what I've seen is that it's definitely not linear like that, and it goes up and down. Even though the channel growth has been climbing and I get more watch time and more views thanks to your generous support, more subscriber base, there hasn't been a huge difference in the amount of revenue coming in. And so I don't know that figure. I will say this, this YouTube channel relies heavily on your generosity and the Patreon supporters. So Patreon is the main reason why I could keep doing this channel and putting the time and energy into this channel, not the Google AdSense, if that answers your question, kind of. I think a lot of my sponsors are happy that I have the YouTube channel, and it definitely, I would say it should help any social media profile, whether it's Instagram or any social media platform, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, things like that. It definitely could help sell yourself more to sponsors and maybe add value, but it's not I don't know exactly what they think. It's my biggest social media channel, so I just love YouTube. But it's not necessarily just because of the YouTube channel. What I will say is that if you do well in races, though, sometimes you could get bonuses from sponsors. So doing well, being a podium in a big race, is you can get a kickback through some contracts. So I have some non-disclosure agreements as well. Sage, what investment of time, energy, or money has most influenced the runner that you've become? What do you look to for inspiration? Well, I look to other people. I had an Instagram post the other day about how I'm really inspired by people that have come out of poverty, or people that have come from tough life circumstances, whether they come from a broken home or they come from just having the odds stacked against them and they're able to succeed in life, whether it's having a good, happy life, doing well financially, rags to riches story, doing well in terms of running and progression. Because I had a pretty tame childhood. I haven't had anything really traumatic happen to me so far in life yet, and I realize I'm very lucky for that. And I'm also very lucky that I didn't grow up in poverty. My parents were very middle class in the US here and very supportive, and that's a privilege to have, and I appreciate their generosity and their support. It definitely helped me a lot, and any success that I've had has always been attributed to the network of other people kind of supporting you along the way. And so I've been lucky in that. I'm inspired by the people that come out of really dire circumstances or have to overcome some really tough life stuff. And I know there's probably some of you out there and people that have done well in running who've done that. In terms of running influences, Max King has been an influence of mine in moving into mountain ultra trail running, because I saw him as a guy that grew up in Oregon, that went to Cornell, that we didn't overlap in school, but I knew about him, that did track and road marathons, but also does any service, any distance, and moves up to the mountain running scene and ultra marathon trail races and things like that. Any old runners from the 70s and 60s, and even going way back to I guess the 50s, Emil Zatopek, Prefontaine, there's just tons of guys, Frank Shorter, Billy Mills. I'm just naming a few. The top elite road marathon runners now, but also other mountain ultra trail runners. Time, energy. What investment? I haven't invested a ton of money. I didn't have a ton of money when I came to Boulder, just a few $1,000s in life savings and a lot more in student loan debt. So I'd say the time and energy that I've put into this YouTube channel has probably influenced my running career a lot, a great amount, putting time into social media, just because I love marketing. I love connecting with you guys around the world, and I love the interaction that you could get, and the power of the interwebs these days is amazing, and just the social media platforms have allowed me to do what I've been able to do thanks to your viewing and your following and your support. So thank you guys. But definitely probably the time spent in training, but also in creating creative media and content on platforms like YouTube. What is the weirdest, scariest experience on a run before? I feel like those are two different questions. I'll say scariest. I have seen a mountain lion here in Boulder between Green and Bear Mountain, and that was pretty scary because it was pretty big, and mountain lions kind of are scary to see because they are predators. It was pretty cool. But I'd say the scariest experience that topped that was actually when I was running with my buddy at Hanson's Brooks, and we were in training in Michigan, kind of near where where the track house was, and we were just out on an afternoon run on the left side of the road, which is the correct way you're supposed to run in the US, facing traffic, car traffic. This is a gravel, dirt, residential road, and a giant vehicle decided to give us a scare, I guess. I don't know. We were running in short shorts without our shirts on, and it swerved. It came up from behind us on the right side of the road and swerved at us to give us a scare, I guess. But it got really close, and it was probably going way over the speed limit, maybe 40 miles an hour. Big vehicle blaring its horn at us, and there was no reason for it. It was on a straightaway. We didn't see it coming because it was coming up behind us, but that was scary because we almost got hit. And yeah, if I got the license plate, I probably would have reported it to the police. But people could scare you more than wildlife, more than rattlesnakes or mountain lions and cougars. So that's kind of a weird experience. Have you ever been depressed, or have you ever dealt with tough life situations? If yes, how was your training affected? Do you ever wish to choose another career path that is, per se, financially safer? So this covers a lot of what I've kind of talked about a bit. I have not been depressed, clinically depressed. I've definitely had some maybe situational downs, I guess. When I went to college, I had a tough transition and I was struggling, which I think is actually fairly common, even for young adults anywhere in their late teens to early 20s. Sometimes you have a quarter life crisis, or you struggle emotionally. I was not seriously depressed though, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that I was. And I definitely had some anxiety growing up. I wouldn't say it was severe, it was pretty mild, but I was painfully shy. If you knew me in high school, you'd say I was painfully shy. I had trouble with all sorts of things. I had speech problems when I was in early elementary school. I went to speech therapy for 2 years, and that definitely was a challenge. I wouldn't say that's a real tough life situation. Again, I grew up pretty lucky and fortunate so far in life, so I haven't struggled with a lot of things that I know people struggle with and overcome, and I admire them a lot for that. So yeah, the social anxiety definitely has been something you always kind of have maybe, but you could overcome that, and running definitely helps because it does help your brain function. It helps you cope with a lot of stress, and so I think running's been great for that, as well as this YouTube channel, being able to talk in front of the camera. I could show off different sides of my personality that I wouldn't necessarily show off in person, especially when I was a lot younger. So I think social media could be a very opening thing in terms of that and in terms of growth. At the same time, you're also open to criticism and cyberbullying and things like that. So it's tough, but the running, when I was not doing well my freshman year of college, everything was going bad. My running was going bad, mainly because I was kind of low on iron. I was eating really unhealthy, and I was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. I gained some pounds of fat, actually, believe it or not, and I was also doing really bad academically and not sleeping very well. So it's kind of a trifecta there, and you could say it shaped my career path because I didn't stay in engineering, and I could have, but at the same time, I don't know, what is financially safe these days? Well, I graduated college in 2009, and it was not a good time in the US economy, at least, to be graduating. There were a lot of cuts being made. Things are unpredictable. The future's always changing. So yeah, it would be nice to have a 401k now and to have security, so to speak. But at the same time, I feel like we're always at risk for losing our jobs, no matter what type of job we have. And so you always have to have ways to have a competitive advantage, and to be always learning and to be developing your skills so that you're always in value and you're always a linchpin, as Seth Godin would say. You're always on the edge of innovation. And I look to inspiration in technology from Elon Musk to people in the diet and food industry, to cardiac surgeons and neurosurgeons and things like that, things that I don't even know about, that are always innovating, and there's always new stuff, even in technology, computers, technology, and all sorts of things, that they're always pushing the innovation envelope, and I think that's really great, and it excites me, as well as new business opportunities, entrepreneurship, things like that. And yeah, I have a dream job right now, and I don't take it for granted, so I don't have any regrets, so to speak. I feel very fortunate, but I know it's finite and it won't last, so it's important to always be planning for the future. And I don't have any clear-cut answers for the future, except it's good to build your skill sets in a variety of different directions, and to be able to recognize opportunity and recognize future trends. What were your PRs when you were 16? 16 was sophomore year of high school, I believe, sophomore, junior year. Let me think about that for a second. Was it sophomore year? Sophomore year of high school. So in track, let's see, in cross country, I ran 16:02 for 5K. In track, we ran the 1500 meters and the 3000 meters. I ran a 901 3000 meter. That was my best performance. I ran 26:24 for 8K, 8 kilometers on the road, almost 5 miles. I ran 33 minutes for 10K, 33:20 maybe. And what did I run? 1500, 414 in the 1500, 205, 204 in the 800, I think. So yeah, those are my PRs. And actually, when I had to apply for colleges on recruiting forms, my junior year, late junior year, early senior year, I had to put down my sophomore track time because as a junior, I actually ran slower in everything. So that was kind of tough. You want to run well your junior year of high school. When did you decide to start a YouTube channel? It was about 10 years ago. I had a couple channels actually, but VO2 Max Productions took off 9.5, 10 years ago, and I was in college. I was excited about videos and creative media, and I just wanted to share some funny joke videos really with some of my friends on the team and film some races and cross country in college. And I just saw it as a platform to put videos up. Yeah, Facebook was too short of a video upload platform, and YouTube was the big thing. It was still kind of a novelty thing 10 years ago, I feel like, and so we were posting there were all these funny viral videos of people lip syncing and dancing and doing funny stuff like that, and I just saw it as a way to be creative and to share videos with my friends, but I never thought it would really take off or grow that much. I love the creative process. When you've got your 218 at Boston, will you try and go quicker in the marathon and break your PR, or are you happy to leave it at 218? Well, yeah, we'll see about Boston. Hopefully I could get the trials qualifier. It takes a 218 or faster. I am not interested actually in lowering my PR. My PR is actually 216.52, and it's from a while ago. And basically I was coming out of college. I focused for 3 years extensively on road half marathons and marathons and developed speed for that to run 216.52. And I think I have the physical capacity to run faster than 216.52. My half marathon PR that year was also 104.32, which is technically a little bit better. I think I always had in the back of my mind I could maybe run 215. It might be wishful thinking, but it would take years of dedication now, at least another year of just road work and speed work, and maybe it wouldn't happen. I don't know. I am getting older. It's not getting any easier as you get into your mid-30s versus your late 20s. When you've been running as long as I have at the level that I have, I've been training pretty seriously now for almost 20 years, and because I focus so extensively just on the half and full marathons and road stuff right out of college, it would take that kind of focus again, plus maybe more. And so I couldn't be doing these trail ultras and races that I love doing, trail mountain races, trail ultra marathons and things like that. And it's not really very lucrative for me in terms of a career. I don't think Hoka really, they care, but there's not really much of an incentive for me to run 216 or 215 or 218. I have tons of respect for guys that try to maximize their potential in the road marathon, and I feel like maybe I've kind of tapped out on that, and I have tons of respect for guys that run under 215. It's an amazing time. Guys that run under 210, it blows me away. It's super competitive. But for me, it's better to focus on what I think I'm naturally better at, which is mountain running and longer distances over the marathon. But also, it's more fun for me mentally to get into that. But the goal is to qualify for the trials, because that's a big honor, and I love that goal. And that time goal is sub 219, so I will chase that. But to try to keep going on the road, we have guys on the Hoka team that run 212, 213. I'm not even close to being the fastest road marathon runner for Hoka. It's not a big incentive, and it would take a huge track and road focus for at least probably a year, and even then there's no guarantees that I'd even get back down to 216.52. So do people look at you funny when you run by them talking to yourself? And this will be the last question, because I realize this video is getting really long. They do, yeah, certainly. Sometimes it depends. I try not to film actually when people are like on a trail or the creek path too much, because I know people don't want to be in a video without their consent. And so sometimes cyclists or something will fly by, and I'll be talking and filming myself with a GoPro or something like that. And they'll look at me weird, but that's not a totally uncommon thing to see in a city like Boulder. And I think a lot of people in the outdoor industry, at least, or active outdoor industry, do recognize GoPros as pretty popular filming devices, as well as obviously iPhones now and SLRs. But Yeah, there's definitely get some weird stares. I've had some people get kind of upset with me because I had my camera like set up on a hill, and then they're kind of walking in the background and they want to make sure they're not on tape. And I'm like, no, don't worry. If you are on tape, I'm gonna edit you out. But they were kind of really cautious and not angry at me, but I don't want to say paranoid. They weren't happy that I was out on the trail filming, and because they didn't want to be in it, but I wasn't gonna put them in my video anyway. So I try to give people the privacy they deserve, and I try not to be annoying about it on the trail, especially with something like a drone. But yeah, when I'm out there talking, and I just learned to contain the embarrassment. I've already embarrassed myself enough across social media, doing silly videos, singing and dancing, and trying to make music video intros, that I'm kind of immune to a lot of embarrassment. And you just got to get out there sometimes, put yourself out there, and people might think you're a little crazy or something, which maybe I am, but it's okay. So I don't worry about it too much, but I don't want to look like I'm running around the park with a GoPro and a tripod. Sometimes it looks like a weapon. I'm more worried about that sometimes. In the US, you don't want to be running around a park where there's kids playing and it looks like you're carrying a gun or something. So you got to be careful when you're carrying some equipment and running, I'd say. And yeah, the looks they don't hurt. So that's all I have to say about that. But thanks so much for all your support on here. Thanks so much for subscribing. I hope I didn't say too much in this video. I probably did, because always trying to evolve and improve on that. Open to constructive criticism in the comments below. Again, for 100K subscribers, which hopefully will hit really soon, thanks to your generous support and following, we'll do prize giveaways, exclusive offers, and a new music video intro special for you guys. Really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe on here for more videos and updates. Check out our coaching website, sagerunning.com. Coach Sandy and I sell training plans, as well as have some newsletters you can sign up for, and blog info, things like that. sagerunning.com. Thank you again. Really appreciate your support. Hope your running's going well, and stay tuned for more.